Sup guys, and welcome back to my list ranking every single one of the bosses in the Fromsoft series. So we're real deep into the list now. This is going to be the second to last video. In the next one we'll have the bottom of the barrel, but this is just barely floating above the surface of the bottom of the barrel. So yeah, don't expect too many too many sweet things to be said about these fucking things. And on that note, let's just start out real strong with 151, and it's Seath the Scaleless. So Seath the Scaleless has very little going for him, other than I suppose I like his design. Outside of that, the fight is not fun. It's easy, but in a very weird way. Because yeah, like, it's really easy. He doesn't have too many attacks, he's fairly easy to dodge. Some of his attacks will just go over you. I guess the tail swipe can one-shot you, but it all comes at the cost of this boss potentially fucking cursing you. And cursing Dark Souls 1, it was cool. It was cool back in the day, you know, when you didn't really know what you were doing, and it's like, holy shit, this is an oppressive mechanic. This is pretty wild. I can't believe they went there. But now it's just like, oh, for the love of fucking God, really? I'm cursed? Great. Let me go to the fucking stinky sewer woman and get a curse fixer or whatever the... What's it called? Like, oh, a purging stone. That's what it's called. God, I have more to say about Curse than I do about Seath, because, like, what the fuck does he even do? What does he even do other than sit there, just a massive moving target, and occasionally blast curse crystals on the floor? I know in the non-remastered version of the game, aka, you know, the original, the PC version, the crystals will fuck your frame rate up, which is always fun. Not really sure if they change this in the remastered version, but I'm gonna be real with you guys, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. At least when Skyrim got re-released, they gave it to you for free if you already had it. Not Dark Souls though. So cruel, so mean. But that's, you know, that's part of the difficulty of the series, is you don't get the remastered version for free. I'm still salty. Let's move on now. So, moving on to 152, it's the Covetous Demon from Dark Souls 2. I'm gonna get the actual fight out of the way real quick. Absolutely, unbelievably, way too fucking easy. He is slow, he is lethargic. If he does hit you, he doesn't do that much damage. You can just kind of breeze through this fucking fight. But I'm gonna move on to one mechanic that I really do want to talk about, because whenever I see him talked about in other videos, people will always mention that, oh, he has that one move where he'll eat you, it's pretty rare, and it unequips all of your items. And people seem to... I don't know, people seem to act like, oh, this is actually really interesting, I wish it was utilized better, and, oh, this is a kind of an interesting idea. I genuinely believe people are just saying this out of, like, desperation to say anything nice about the Covetous Demon, because you can't be fucking serious. There's nothing fun about going through the menus and re-equipping all of your items. This wouldn't work on any other boss. The only reason it works on the Covetous Demon is he never fucking does it, and even if he does, he still can't kill you because he's slow and he's shit and he's weak. Like, it's a fucking awful mechanic. Like, do you think Manus, Father of the Abyss, do you think he'd be better if at any given point in the fight he has a grab attack which unequips all of your shit? No, that would ruin the boss. He would be like... I mean, fuck me, he'd be like near the bottom of the list if he did that. It's just a terrible idea strapped onto a shit boss. There's nothing fun about the Covetous Demon. He's just... at the very least, he's easy. You can just get him out of the way. And the eat mechanic, it sucks. Please, I'm begging you, anyone that hears this that plans on making a boss list at some point, don't fucking defend the eat move. It's shit. Just accept it. So, at 153, it's Fierce Champions. I'm really glad that at the very least we do still get to use the cool arena for Lich Dragon Fortisax, because I do like the arena. I like the color scheme of the whole thing and just the atmosphere you get. And there you go, that's all the nice things I could say about the boss. It's an NPC, followed by an NPC, followed by 3 NPCs. When the 3 NPCs show up, they all have spells, and they all spam spells at you. It's awesome. Even the guy in heavy armor with a fucking great weapon, well, the great rapier or whatever it's called, even he spams spells, and it's just annoying. That's really all they are. They are just annoying. It feels like a callback to the fucking gang squad at Dark Souls 2, except a little less egregious, but we will get to them when we get to them. There's just nothing nice to say about them. They're just annoying. They show up, you kill them, and you forget about them, hopefully. So, at 154, it's High Lord Wolnir from Dark Souls 3. So, as far as nice things to say about High Lord Wolnir, I do actually really like his visual design, and I think the setup and the atmosphere to this boss is really, like, just really good. The cutscene as you get into the boss, the sort of like shrouded in darkness, there's a single item in the middle, and you approach it and this huge, just behemoth, this giant skeleton appears. It's so cool. But that's just the first impression, and then upon fighting him you realize, oh no, this can't be the boss. Hit him in the bangles, hit him in the bangles, hit him in the bangles, he's dead. It's the same fight every single time. You can even just run straight to the bangle without even picking up the item, and basically knock down one of them instantly. He's just painfully easy. He does have a few attacks that, you know, they can get you if you just walk into them, I guess. You know, he has the mist vomit. If you move down too close to him, you get misted. That's about it though, and it will eat your fucking health. If he manages to crawl all the way up to the top and then use the mist breath, you're done. But if you are halfway competent at dealing with him, it'll never happen. I think a lot of people, maybe the first time fighting him, especially if you don't realize you meant to hit the bangles, maybe you hit the hands and think, oh, he's losing health. Ah, God, fucking High Lord Wolnir, man. What a shame. What a shame. So, at 155 from Dark Souls 1, it's the Moonlight Butterfly. Just nothing, man. Moonlight Butterfly is a nothing of a boss. I think it has 3 attacks. It has like it has the magic orb, it has the magic needles, I guess, and then it can fly over and drop a little bomb in the middle of the arena. That's about it. Outside of that, you are just waiting. Like, if you have a melee build, you might as well not be fighting a boss. You might as well just be waiting, like, in between periods of hitting an enemy that they're claiming as a boss. It's such a fucking waste of time. It feels so unsatisfying to fight this thing, to kill it. It feels unsatisfying to even dodge everything, like, because you don't even need to. Just shield it. Just shield it and heal if you really want to. Just, what a shame. I mean, they give you the summon of Beatrice, is that it? The witch? Yeah, and she can basically deal with it by herself. You can just ignore the thing. Draw aggro away while she just soul arrows it to death. It's just nothing, man. I guess one small tidbit that I don't really like this about the boss, but I find it interesting. If you go up to the top of the tower after you kill her and you break the stuff, it like weirdly glitches out and floats sideways into infinity. That's something. It's not something good, but it's something. So, at 156, it's Rom the Vacuous Spider. What an unbelievable waste of just a really cool boss entrance, and a pretty cool arena too. Oh my good god. Thank god they sort of like reuse this idea for Renala. Because, yeah, the arena's cool. Rom himself? Rom is fucking awful. The actual boss is a joke. Like, he can do very little. He has barely any attacks. Doesn't... Actually, you know what? No, he does do a decent amount of damage, especially the meteor shower. That'll get you. But the spiders, man. What the fuck were they thinking with the spiders? You know, something I never seen mentioned? Why the fuck do the spiders have to take reduced damage from the front? They're a mob enemy. They surround you and constantly face you. If you actually can be bothered killing all the spiders instead of just going for Rom, which you probably should do. Like, it's such a fucking chore. It's not even remotely fun. And who knows, maybe if you could hit them from the front, maybe they would be okay. I mean, it wouldn't be a good boss fight, but it'd be better than this. Just, god, I fucking hate Rom, man. He just sucks so much ass. Even design-wise, I don't even like him that much. I guess I like the little spiders, but Big Rom is just a fucking massive dried-up turd. So, at 157, it's the Ceaseless Discharge from Dark Souls 1. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't believe that this boss receives the hate that it deserves. And I do think it deserves to be disliked. Now, I get that the lore is really cool, and the story is very touching, and the poor guy rips his own arm out to fight you. But here's the thing, there are 2 ways to fight this boss. One way, which you essentially just skip the boss, you just run to the end, let him jump onto the platform, then you hit his hand and boom, he's dead. Oh, but wait, no, you can fight him like a regular boss if you wait on the platform. Be real with me, have you fought him like this? Because it's fucking awful. It is genuinely shit. If that was the only way to fight him, he'd be right near the fucking bottom. Because all his boss is 2, maybe 3 attacks, massive, invisible fucking shockwave hitboxes on the slam. I know they fixed that in Remastered, but like I said in the other video, I ain't paying for Remastered. There's nothing fun about fighting this boss. Visually, sure, he's pretty cool, very imposing, and like I said, the lore is great, but everything else about this guy just fucking stinks. He's just awful. He's never fun. There's never a situation where I'm excited to fight Ceaseless Discharge. It's just like, oh, Ceaseless Discharge, cool, I can get a few levels from his, from all the souls you get from him. Outside of that, nothing. Just painful. So, at 158, the poster boy for how to fuck up a gang fight, it is the Belfry Gargoyles from Dark Souls 2. It's hard to call these guys a throwback, although I guess technically they're a throwback, but what the fuck were they thinking, man? There's 5 or 6 of them, I can't even remember. They'll all just gang up on you at once, their moves do not mesh well together, zero difference between any of them. It's not like there's a ranged one and there's a melee one. They are all the melee one. Oh my god, this is such a fucking pain in the arsehole. They're also genuinely quite challenging if you face them, like, when immediately presented with them. But, I don't know, man. Like, am I meant to come back and fight these guys, or do I just fight them when I'm ready? It's not fun either way, because they're either annoying if you're over-leveled, or they're just fucking painful if you're under-leveled. Oh, and the weapon sucks absolute dick. It's just a spear. It's shaped like a trident. You'd think you can swing it because it has spikes on the side. You can't. It's just a spear. So what a shame, man. What a shame, man. Luckily, nothing is wasted. The arena is boring. The design is just the gargoyles from Dark Souls 1, but less interesting. No tail cut or anything. So at the very least, you could say, hey, you know what? No wasted potential, because there was no potential here. And I think they were trying to do sort of like a Four Kings thing where, like, they'll come in one by one. They don't all immediately spawn. The problem is the timer is so fucking short that if you are even attempting to be cautious in this fight, you will very quickly have every single one of them just out at the same time. And because their wings are so big, like, the models mesh together. They look fucking awful in a group. There's nothing else left to say about these guys. Terrible boss, horrible throwback, awful gang fight. So, at 159, the worst boss in Sekiro, hands down, no contest in my opinion, it's the Folding Screen Monkeys. So, the Folding Screen Monkeys were meant to be sort of like a puzzle boss, and I'm using that in the loosest sense of the word, because once you understand what the puzzle is and how to do it, on repeat playthroughs, like your second time, you will just bum rush this boss. But even on your first time, you're probably gonna bum rush this boss because it's just too fucking easy. And on top of that, you don't even have to solve the puzzle. The green monkey, I think you have to, like, ring the bell. You don't actually have to do that if you don't want to. You can just kill it. I know this footage doesn't illustrate it well, but trust me, if you fought this boss before, you know you can just kill the green monkey. And the purple monkey as well. You don't have to open the door to, what do you call it? It, like, brings down the water, I think? I can't remember. Or the wind? Something like that. You have to, like, distract both of the monkeys, basically. But you don't even have to do that. You can just drop down on the purple one and immediately kill it. The invisible one, turn around, instantly kill it, and the orange one just sneak up on it. That's all you have to do. They're just piss easy, zero danger, no sense of urgency, really. Well, actually, I guess if you did you do stand still, the, what do you call it? The little purple monkeys, what do they inflict? They inflict instant death. Terror? That's it, terror. They'll spawn in, they'll get you. Really nice of them to stick that in there, just as like, oh shit, this fight's too easy. Let's just have the weird basic mobs that spawn inflict insta-death. There we go, that'll fix them. I just hate the fucking, the Folding Screen Monkeys. At the very least, they are piss easy, and you can just get them out of the way, so, you know, I'll give them a point for that, but it's not a good point, it's like a stinky point, it's a dirty point. It's a number one, as, you know, it's a number 1 point, but it's just coated in filth. Anyways, let's move on from the Folding Screen Monkeys. So, at 160 from Bloodborne, it's the Witches of Hemwick. So, the Witches of Hemwick just has no thought, no love, no care put into it. The witches are basic enemies that have been retooled for the boss fight. The mad ones which spawn are, well, not basic enemies, but, you know, big enemies that have been retooled for the boss fight. And outside of that, like, what is fun about this? There's nothing fun about this. I guess on the plus side, the arena's really cool. I think the arena looks real nice. It wouldn't be a very good boss arena, but it's something. If you come back with 0 insight, they don't even spawn the mad ones, which are the only thing you actually have to deal with. But you don't have to deal with them because they have like no aggro range and they're slow as shit. They don't even chase you. They just wander around aimlessly. They made the decision to give the witches an AoE, a ranged attack which stuns you, which is always fucking awesome in the middle of a fucking boss fight. And on top of that, they have a grab. So go fuck yourself, I guess. They just had to stack all these annoying mechanics on. They couldn't give them a move set or have an actual boss spawn in when you kill one of them or something. No. They just sit invisible and shoot fucking... Oh my god. They just shoot orbs at you. That's all they do. It's just painful. It's just painful. The only reason to fight this boss is to get the Kara runes as well. Because they're optional. You don't have to fight them. But... oh, you want Kara runes, so you kind of do want to fight them. Just such a shame, man. So, coming in at a crispy 161, it's the Old Iron King from Dark Souls 2. Oh my fucking god. There is one element to this boss I'm sure everyone agrees is just an absolute fucking pain in the sphincter, and that's the hole in the middle. You know, speaking of sphincters. It's... the only reason it's there is to make the fight difficult. The run back to this boss is a complete fucking nightmare as well. I hate coming back to this boss. Luckily, as long as you don't fall into the hole in the center, it's piss easy. Every other attack, it will just leave its fist in the middle of the arena for no reason. It's not even out of breath, it just leaves it there and continues its idle animation. It's so fucking sad, it's pathetic watching this fight. It's like getting into a fucking bare-knuckle boxing match with a fucking paraplegic. It's horrifying. You just kind of feel bad for it. Except then I take one look at the hole in the center and I say, you know what? I don't feel bad for it. I hate this guy. Just what a fucking shame. And being that he's like one of the big bosses, one of the like the old ones, the great ones or whatever from Dark Souls 2, it's just such a fucking letdown. I suppose it's pretty grandiose. As far as his design goes, I mean, just Google demon monster and you'll find basically pictures of him. Just a big lava guy with wings and horns. That's it. Just generic, boring, no thought. The fight is awful and there's a fucking hole in the middle. I have nothing but mean things to say about the Old Iron King, but there's still worse than him. There is still worse than the Old Iron King. In fact, there is much worse. Not even the worst boss in Dark Souls 2. We'll get there though, we'll get there. So, at 162 from Demon Souls, it's the Adjudicator. If you want to understand why the Adjudicator is this low down, it's pretty simple. He has one attack. Exactly one attack. Now, he does technically have a couple other attacks, I think, if you, like, run away and make distance between him. Why would you ever do that? Like, because this one attack has 0 tracking, is incredibly slow, super telegraphed. You will never ever get hit by him if you just walk ever so slightly to the left or the right whenever he does it. Hit himself, hit him in the weak spot, and then hit the bird. That's all you do. Just never a challenge, never fun, always boring, never interesting. They could have done something with this guy. And the arena is so closed in that he doesn't even really move. I don't know if he actually can walk around. It's just a shame. I guess visually he's a little bit interesting, being that the actual boss is the bird, and I guess the body's just controlled by it. But outside of that, there's nothing. Just one attack, and you'll never get hit by it. Just awful. So at 163, it's the Misbegotten Warrior and the Crucible Knight from Elden Ring. Now, I know it seems weird this boss is on the list, though I saw it in other tier lists, so I think it makes sense. And to be fair, you get one of the legendary weapons from them, so I don't know, clearly the game thought they were somewhat important. That said, yeah, they belong right down here. It's 2 enemies that you've already fought before, as bosses, mind you, being the Misbegotten Warrior and the Crucible Knight. They don't belong together. God knows what they're doing in Radahn's fucking castle. And on top of that, it's just a shitty gank fight. Like, when I say they don't belong together, they really don't belong together. Trying to fight them both at the same time is a fucking nightmare. The best thing to do is just bum rush the Misbegotten Warrior, try and kill it immediately, and then fight the Crucible Knight. For some weird reason as well, the Misbegotten Warrior has very little health, and yet the Crucible Knight seems to have more health than it should. It's really odd. Especially considering that if you come back later in the game, a lot of the times, they're just not there. I can't remember when they disappear. There's a point before you like activate the festival that you can fight them, and it's kind of weird. I'm not super in tune with it because I often don't bother fighting these guys. But just lazy, and just one of Elden Ring's shitty gank fights. I mean, I'll give you guys a full breakdown on why I hate Elden Ring's gank fight so much when we get to a certain other boss, but that'll be in the next part. I think you know who it is. So, at 164 from Dark Souls 2, it's the Royal Rat Vanguard. It's a pile of rats. It's just a bunch of rats, and they can inflict petrify, so there is a tiny bit of danger there. You can't bum rush them. You don't want to get hit too many times. But it's still pretty fucking laughable. It's just a pile of rats. Oh, that's not true. One of the rats is a mohawk rat, and he is cool as shit, but the rest of them are fucking losers. If I had to say one potentially nice thing about this boss, despite it being a mob boss, you don't feel overwhelmed in the slightest, because the way the statues are set up, you can kind of break up aggro. It's a surprise that no other mob boss tries to let you break up aggro like this. I guess the Celestial Emissary kind of does, but I mean, that doesn't make that good, and it doesn't make this good. Just piss easy. I don't know why the fuck it's there. Also, when you really think about it, you want to kill this boss so you can join the Covenant to stop other people killing the boss to join the Covenant. It doesn't make any sense. It's really weirdly counterintuitive, but I mean, fuck me. I don't care at this point. It's the Royal Rat Vanguard. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. It's just rats. That's all it is. It's barely a boss. It should be ashamed to call itself a boss, you know? It's like an honorary title given to make it feel better. God, fuck, man. We are really reaching into the depths. The next part of the list is going to be just fucking miserable because we are in the shit then. But for now, here are the rats. And so, finally at 165, it's Prowling Magus and the Congregation. So it may come as a surprise if you'd seen the rest of the list that this isn't, at least in my opinion, the worst boss in Dark Souls 2. In fact, it's not even in the bottom 5 in my opinion. There is definitely worse in that game. That said, it's real fucking low for a reason. It is nothing. Just none of the enemies are unique. Why is it even here? Was it a fucking accident? Did they forget to put a boss here and then just have to dump them all in there as like, oh shit, we were meant to build, like, put a knight here. Fuck it, just a Church of the Spooky Ghouls, just stick them in there. Oh my god, and you know what, another comment I never hear people talk about, the fucking boss room is hideous as shit and doesn't make any sense. This is meant to be a church. There are no windows, no stained glass, nothing church-like, no statues, just a row of pews, and then for some God knows what fucking reason, there's just like a collection of water-filled pots, which if you roll into, you take bonus lightning damage from the mages, so why would you roll into them? Why are they even there? What, is it holy water? Is that what it's meant to be? There's no basin for it. There's just no thought put into this fucking fight whatsoever. It's so unbelievably depressing. Like, you really do just feel bad for it. And honestly, the only reason it isn't in my bottom 5, and it isn't, you know, in my opinion, the worst in the worst in Dark Souls 2, is it's so easy and ignorable that it's just like, oh, just get out of the way. It's like there isn't even a boss there. It's like you're just continuing through the level, and there happened to be a bunch of enemies in this room. That would have been fine. That would have been fine. Because despite being a boss, it's not overwhelming at all. Because they're not aggressive, they don't have like unique movesets, they're not strong. Pretty much all of them die in like 4 hits max. Just, oh my god. Just pathetic that it even has to be on the list. But that's Prowling Magus and the Congregation. They didn't try. They didn't try. And with that, we're coming to the end of the list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out the rest of the list if you're curious about where everyone else stands, you know, like top 10, whatever. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you think is too high or too low. And with that, Peace out.